Hey there, my name is Jabin Shah and this is the video for Milestone 3, that is deployment for CSC519 project. In this milestone, we have extended our work done in Milestone 2, demonstrated techniques related to deployment and monitoring of checkbox.io and iTrust. We've used Ansible for spawning AWS instances, Jenkins for deployment into the production environment, Kubernetes for making the infrastructure redundant and tolerant to node failures, and finally Prometheus and Grafana for monitoring and analysis. There are a few prerequisites to run this project. You would need VirtualBox, Baker, and an AWS account. As you can see, there are currently no running instances, no key pairs that have been set up, and no load balancers. Now what we would do is start the deployment step. Once there, we have a script that is run.sh, which will automate the following tasks. It will run the Ansible playbook by setting up a AWS instance, which would host the Jenkins server and create an inventory file for Ansible. Then it would run a test ping command to ensure that the server can be reached. And finally, it would run another play using Ansible playbook with the inventory file created and the playbook.demo. This new play is responsible for setting up Jenkins server with the required dependencies to enable deployment of iTrust and checkbox in the production environment. And it would also set up the GitHub webhooks to allow us to build the Jenkins job whenever a push is triggered to the repository. The play has completed its execution and now we can go to the IP address to have a look at the Jenkins server. The Jenkins server is available at port 9999, and as you can see, there are two jobs ready to build, one for checkbox and the other for iTrust. You can also see that the webhooks for checkbox and iTrust have been automatically set up. Since they were set up at a time where the instance was not available, it is showing as a error. If you redeliver payload, it'll start the building of the iTrust job in the environment. What this would do is it would download the iTrust repository, create a WAR file out of it, create a MySQL dump from the database, and then push this database onto the production server, where a Tomcat service would be started and the iTrust application would be deployed on the Tomcat server. The play has completed its execution and we can now go to the newly created AWS instance at port 8080. We can see that the iTrust application has been deployed, and if we log in as an admin user, for the Redis feature flag, we have disabled the manage users page. The feature is disabled for now, sorry for the inconvenience. For demo purposes, we can enable the this feature again through the Redis CLI by running the following command. Now that the value is set, we can refresh the page and you can see that the page is available for use. Now I would execute a push to the checkbox repository, which would start the build of the configured checkbox job on Jenkins. As you can see, the build has been started. What this build job would do is it would deploy the checkbox.io Docker container with the separated microservice for the rendering of markdown to a Kubernetes cluster with 3 nodes. And what it would subsequently do is it would deploy a Grafana and Prometheus service that would be used for visualizing and monitoring the Kubernetes cluster. If we go back to the EC2 management console, we can see that there are currently 6 instances. One would be the master node and the other 3 would be the slave nodes. The build has completed its execution, but it will take some time for the service to be available to use. You can see that 3 load balancers have been set up. Each of these are responsible for a Kubernetes cluster, a checkbox.io service, and the other is for a Grafana service. We can visit them now. We can see that the checkbox.io service has been deployed. And if we have a look at the rendering service, it is still available. Also, the MongoDB database is usable. Now what I would like to demonstrate is a node failure. And if we go to the running instances, select any node and terminate it, you can see that only 2 nodes are running now. However, the checkbox.io service is still available to use. Now we need to configure the Kubernetes cluster with Grafana. Select the data source as Prometheus and then deploy. We can see that we have a dashboard with all the information that we need, from CPU usage to memory usage to the disk usage and so on. And we would also get information for different nodes, whether or not they are healthy. And finally, we would also get deployment related information. So that's it for this milestone, and that is the end for the CSC519 project. I hope you had fun, because we sure as hell did. Thank you.